Greetings everyone, this is Rockman's Puck Connection with the weekly comic book roundup. We got a fairly decently sized haul this week, so we'll look at the first half, so to speak. Kicking things off with New Mutants #1. Part of Marvel's Dawn of X initiative, obviously. Okay, so, as you can tell from the cover, the lineup consists of Cypher, Wolfsbane, Danny Moonstar, aka Mirage, Mondo, Karma, Chamber, Magic, and Sunspot. So, start off on Krakoa, with Wolfsbane reliving her resurrection and meeting with Karma and kind of discussing how things have changed. Elsewhere on the island, we've got Mondo and Doug Ramsey. Doug is trying to see if Mondo can connect to Krakoa and be something of a avatar. It's more Krakoa would have to bond with, would have to do it with Mondo, and they show that so Krakoa shows that yes, it can do that, but also that it's a bad thing, and he doesn't like it much. So it's agreed by both Mondo and Cypher that yeah, that's not going to happen again. We cut to the Academos habitat, namely the portion known as the Sextant, where Sunspot and Mirage are talking. We also see some of the other various mutants around, including Glob Herman, Monet, a couple of small versions of Penance. Looks like we've got the old Hellions meeting with one of the original Hellions. But it turns out that Sync and Monet spoke with a new young mutant named Fauna, and they were able to create coffee beans. And Ileana loves the coffee, loves it very much. So everyone's all gathered together. And they bring up that it sucks that Sam Cannonball isn't there with us. Like, well, let's go get him. So they go through the portal that was set up on the Starjammer, hitching a ride into Shi'ar space. And it looks like they're also bringing a portal flower with them to set up in Shi'ar space. However, there's something odd going on. The portal that Cyclops gave to his father in X-Men #1 is doing something to the habitat, the biome aboard the Starjammer. And ruin some plants that Ch'ad was trying to grow that bloom once in a decade. Later on, several days later into the journey, we get a sparring session between the Starjammer Raza and Magic. And apparently a bet has been made on who's going to win by Sunspot and Corsair. a bottle of Kentucky bourbon is on the line. And Magic wins. So, Sunspot gets himself a bottle of bourbon. Next day they arrive at the space station Benevolence, which is on the edge of Shi'ar space. And Corsair simply explains to everyone, hey, look, we got business to take care of. You guys stay here. We'll be back in lickety split. You won't even, But yeah. Text portion, we get a wanted poster for the Starjammers, including the bounties on each individual member. Corsair is worth 2.5 million Shi'ar credits. I'm presuming that's what SC is. Raza is worth 1.75 million Shi'ar credits. Ch'ad and Hepzibah are both worth 1 million. Sikorsky's worth 0.5 mil. And Kari is worth 500. The crimes they are wanted for: pheromonal, second degree, and fourth degree assault, minor, major, and galactic theft, first and second degree murder, impersonating an Imperial agent, impersonating an Imperial envoy, illegal seizure, illegal boarding, trespassing, spitting, violation of prohibition laws, lewd behavior, and mayhem. Oh, and scratching. So, yeah. Anyway, Benevolence, the station they've stopped at, was originally designed as a transit station, and recently converted into a temporary repository for exotic materials considered too dangerous for intersystem storage. Long-term plans for conversion of Benevolence to a populated habitat remain on hold until a shift in brood spawning grounds occurs. Current Imperial xenobiologists believe this long-predicted shift appears increasingly unlikely due to the recent collapse of several stars within the breeding territory, altering normal migration patterns. Due to operational shortages, the station is currently manned by only a single light brigade. Multi-system troop reassignments have been made in response to increased scroll activity in other sectors. And also automated docking and refueling nodes for all vessels with proper Imperial identification codes, the fabrication of which is a crime punishable by compound fines and possible imprisonment. Also, there's an addendum about the King Egg. So to beware of the King Egg. Always handle with extreme caution. Under no circumstances should a King Egg be removed from its containment shield. Interstellar pheromone production can result in unexpected swarm activity. Never introduce a King Egg into an alien biome. Such activity can trigger Super Guardian protocols. I presume King Egg refers actually to a brood king. So, Corsair explains, maybe fudges a bit as to what about Benevolence, explaining that the spaceport is actually owned by the Nwabika. They're a cult. Judgy fundamentalist cult led by a guy with 4 arms, because those are the worst things that Rain, Wolfsbane, and Chamber could imagine. So, Starjammers leaves to go about their business. Sunspot is just like, hey, look, how about we just hang out here? We'll drink some bourbon together. So he goes to get the bourbon, and the rest of the team teleports onto the station to steal the King Egg. As the Starjammers walk in. Followed by the aforementioned Shi'ar Light Brigade. And while the Starjammers manage to make it out, the New Mutants are kind of like, okay, they leave the New Mutants on their own, and also take the King Egg and kick Sunspot off, who then goes to try to save his friends. Yeah, doesn't exactly go according to plan, but he does mention that he does have the number of a really good space lawyer. And that's where, well, the issue ends with an ad for Space Lawyer. Alrighty, that's New Mutants #1. Next up, we've got XForce #1. One thing to keep in mind this month is Marvel is going to be going hard when it comes to the X-Men books, as New Mutants, X-Force, and Fallen Angels are each going to be releasing their first 2 issues this month. Plus, we get second issues of X-Men, Excalibur, and Marauders. And next month, we get issues 4 and 5 of all 6 books. Or issues 3 and 4. Yeah, 3 and 4 of all 6 books. Anyway, X-Force #1. So we begin with the meeting of a group. They're all wearing masks, and the leader explains that everyone needs to know, so that the group leader knows that they're not, that no one there is actually a mutant. Everyone needs to basically cut their finger open and drop some blood into a little petri dish. Everyone starts doing this, except for one member. And when she takes off her glove, she reveals a pasty white flesh and black painted nails. This is, of course, Domino. And she manages to get through, but it ends up getting She manages to at least begin to get away, but she's still captured. We cut to Krakoa, where Beast is wandering about, taking a look at the flora and fauna of Krakoa, and is suddenly attacked by a large animal, which Logan then chases down. However, Beast manages to convince Logan not to kill it. Logan explains he's been tracking it for days. And there are predatory animals on Krakoa. We also get a breakdown of the security features of Krakoa, including green bonded alarm system with an aquatic detector and atmospheric detector, plant control interface run by Black Tom, as well as additional precautions. We cut to Black Tom, basically connected to the island. Very interesting that it's nice to see that they remember his plant abilities. But he realized that something's coming. Something being a dingy-looking boat that has been dubbed the Kitty Hawk. After all, it's Kate Pride and her Marauders. Turns out that while in Russia, Colossus was badly injured. We also get a letter from the official response to non-treaty nations and the unofficial responses to non-treaty nations from Charles Xavier. The official response reads as follows. All those who have not yet signed the treaty acknowledging mutant sovereignty will be treated publicly as future allies who have not yet realized the benefits of the agreement. Firm but friendly diplomatic efforts will continue. This will include weekly phone calls and monthly visits from Krakoan emissaries, educational propaganda blasts via radio, television, and internet, and invitations of politicians and business leaders to mutant-sponsored events in allied territories. Punitive measures will be mostly indirect, including increased tariffs from the United States and China. All of this assumes a stance of friendly disagreement, but any openly hostile behavior toward mutant kind will be subject to an immediate tactical response pending discussion and approval from the Quiet Council. And now, the unofficial response. Any attempts by non-treaty nations to secure back-channel conduits for Krakoan medicine will be arranged through the Black King of the Hellfire Trading Company. Failure to work with the Black King will result in intimidation at his discretion, followed by covert punitive measures. Mutant operative cells will work to undermine the current administration. From now, their primary focus will be the extraction of all mutants currently forbidden from crossing the border and joining their mother nation of Krakoa. In Russia, this effort includes Colossus. Then at Seoul International Airport, a group of travelers board a plane. Meanwhile, Xavier heads to Sokovia to celebrate Sokovia signing a treaty with Krakoa. Meanwhile, Healer is working on, healing the various injured Russian mutants. Jean Grey is trying to help him with, pinpointing where everyone hurts, but apparently, as she puts it, she can't tell them where they hurt because they hurt everywhere. Back on the plane, someone is knocked out. It's been taken over, and the passengers have been knocked out. And it turns out there's a Black Ops team. I'm presuming the armor, light as it is, looks like the Reavers. And so they airdrop onto the island from the plane. And while Black Tom and Xavier discuss protocol with the island, the assailants arrive and start executing mutants. We actually see a few familiar faces. Vanisher, Tabitha Smith in her boomer outfit, Caliban, but Beast, Black Tom, and Wolverine do what they can to help save everyone, as does Jean. However, one of them has seemingly shot and killed Professor X. And the issue ends with apparently a body on the ground, and to the side, the shattered Cerebro helmet that Xavier's been wearing. And that's the end of the issue. Next up, we've got Ghost Rider #2. So, where we left off with Ghost Rider. Excuse me. Danny Kesh visited his mother's grave, and her ghost told him that his brother Johnny needs help, and because he's been driven mad with power. Johnny Blaze, Danny's brother, being now the king of hell after all. So we open up with Blaze walking through town, surrounded by the smell of sin. But there's one that pops out, because they're not carrying mortal sin, because they're not mortal. Blaze Ghost Riders up and goes after the guy, hits him with the calls it the damnation stare. And is it seems as though the demon tells Blaze what he wants to know. At the fadeaway bar, Stacy Dolan shows up to bring Danny Ketch a cup of coffee and ask if Danny maybe, set someone on fire last night as Ghost Rider. One of the regulars at Danny's bar, no less. He did not, however. In hell, the demon that was sent back there earlier by Johnny talks with the would-be queen, Lilith. And it turns out that he did exactly as he was told to do. At the Manhattan Cruise Terminal, Ghost Rider's dealing with a bunch of other possessed people. However, Stacy arrives on the scene and calls up Danny. Danny Ghost Riders up and goes to try and stop Johnny. And upon arriving, basically none of the demons look like demons. They all look like regular people. So Danny's like, obviously obviously my brother has lost it. So we get some Ghost Rider on Ghost Rider action. The quote-unquote hostages manage to escape the boat. However, one of the demons escapes and possesses one of the SWAT officers on site. The possessed SWAT officer is then taken out by King Blaze, and the two race up to the top of one of the bridges where they continue to duke it out. However, now Johnny pulls the spirit of vengeance out of Danny and then drops him off the bridge into the water. And that's where the issue ends. Alright. It looks like Mephisto and Vegas are popping up in the next issue. Moving on to Old Man Quill, number 11. Where we left off, the forces of Doom were facing off against Vision's resistance, while Star-Lord had gone back to the night that all the superheroes were killed in an effort to try and get his hands on the Ultimate Nullifier. However, he seemingly failed. So we start off in the future, in the wastelands. Doom's forces are not exactly doing well, or are not exactly making it easy on the Resistance, and so Vision flies through various Doom bots until Madame Mask shoots her with a molecular disruptor rifle. In the past, it suggested, however, that Peter Quill used the Rosebud 3, which is apparently a time sled, and headed to the time, basically in an attempt to get help from Reed. It's about that time that the building shoots off with Loki on top of it. In the time stream, a note is they discover a pod, which upon going in, they discover Reed and Sue. Well, Peter discovers Reed and Sue, long dead. There's a recording from Reed, basically giving Peter the ultimate nullifier. However, after he gets the nullifier, he ends up at the time. They're back in the time stream, and they come upon Gladiator. After a quick fight, Star-Lord uses the ultimate nullifier on Gladiator, completely obliterating him. He arrives back in the Wastelands, in his present, finds dead Vision, as well as Doom and Madame Mask. He holds up the nullifier, and Doom takes it out of his hand and crushes it. And so, sort of like, you just doomed us all, man. Because, as it turns out, Galactus and the rest of the Intergalactic Church of Truth are coming up on Earth. That's where the issue ends. And moving on to the last book for this video. Legion of Superheroes #1. Hence, the Legion Ring. So, the Legion of Superheroes are a rather large super team in the future of the DC Universe. The rebirth version of the team has since recruited Jonathan Kent, Superboy, into their ranks. So we begin in the Bloodhaven sewer system on planet Gotham. Ultra Boy is chasing after a Haraz vehicle, and he does manage to at least get the item that they're carrying in it. However, Morlun shows up. Mordru, the demon gangster, shows up and tries to take it for himself. Then Starboy, Karate Kid, and Wildfire pop up and help out. And they manage to defeat Mordru and send him packing. Turns out what's within the package is none other than Aquaman's trident. We cut to Superboy's arrival in the future alongside Saturn Girl. And he's welcomed with open arms by the rest of the Legion. And basically they're going to pop-ups with everyone's name, race, alien race, home planet, so on and so forth. Then Rose shows up, but as she's trying to talk to Superboy, Superboy flies off with Saturn Girl, Lightning Lad, and Cosmic Boy, and some of the other Legionnaires following, as he gets a look at modern Metropolis, and he's still kind of reeling about the fact that there's glass on the cities in glass. And then they show what's left of Earth, New Earth, I should say. But an alarm goes off at Legion headquarters, and it's just Ultra Boy, Ultra Boy, Starboy, Karate Kid, and Wildfire returning with the Trident, which kicked off, which signaled the alarm. And it turns out, though, that the 4 Legionnaires were followed by the Hurrahs. We get a good look at, we get a decent team shot of the Legion. And it appears to be there is a yellow lantern, or at least a yellow ring bearer there within the Legion, which that's kind of neat. Meanwhile, the homeworld of the United Planets, oh, I don't know my. I honestly don't know my DC aliens, but I'm not entirely sure what race she is. But the president of the United Planets is told briefing what's going on. Not happy about the fact that the Legion literally plucked Superboy from the past and brought it to their present, which is the #1 rule of the United Planets of things to not do. Yeah, she's not happy about things, and that is where the issue ends. That's gonna be it for this first video. As always, feel free to like, share, subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the instructions down below. Let me know, those of you who also picked up comics this week, let me know what you got and what you thought of them in the comments down below. This is Rock Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.